Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Frankfort Village Board. Tonight is Monday, November 15th, 2021. And the first item, could we ask our clerk, Katie Schubert, to call the roll, please?
Mayor Ogle?
Here.
Trustee Borelli?
Here.
Trustee Farina?
Here.
Trustee Ledden?
Here.
Trustee Petro?
Here.
Trustee Rossi?
Here.
Trustee Severia?
Here.
Police Chief Chalepas?
Here.
Attorney Mahoney?
Here.
Attorney Lamore? Village Administrator Pisha?
Here.
Assistant Administrator Barika? And Village Clerk Schubert is here.
Thank you, Clerk Schubert. Now, if we could have everyone stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on here is what's called the unanimous consent agenda. All items on the unanimous consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. This time I ask if anyone wants to remove any of the items from the consent agenda.
Mayor, can we remove D1?
D1, the Mays Residence Accessory Structure.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Are there any other items to be removed? It's not necessary to have motions in order to remove these. They're just removed. Okay. So the remaining items that are on the consent agenda, can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
We have Trustee Farina with the motion, Trustee Savaria with the second. The items on here we're going to go through, and we're going to read through them so that the people that are in the audience, those who are at home or might be watching later on demand, understand what it is that we are voting on. And so first we will go, we had the approval of the minutes. No changes on that. We'll go to Trustee Savaria for the bills.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bills tonight equaled $2,677,552.05. This is higher than most months, with the bulk of this coming from the Capital Development Fund, with a line item to PT Farrell Construction of $1,720,992.02 for the 2021 road maintenance. All other items are fairly routine in nature, and that concludes my report this evening.
All right. Thank you, Trustee. And we'll actually continue on with you at the, we have a Committee of the Whole report.
Thank you. Traffic Code Ordinance Amendment, Chapter 71, Traffic Control Schedules. As at its November 1st, 2021 meeting, the Committee of the Whole considered a recommendation from a Traffic Advisory Committee to establish no parking on the north side of Sauk Trail between Ash Street and Central Road. The roadway is 25 feet in width at several points, which is less than the recommended width of 28 feet for a two-lane roadway with parallel street parking on one side. In addition, traffic has increased on the roadway due to new traffic pattern for St. Peter's Preschool, and parking restrictions will help control the safe movement of vehicular traffic. It was a consensus of the committee to forward a recommendation to the village board to approve an amendment to the traffic code establishing the parking restrictions on Sauk Trail as presented. The motion before us is to accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole, waive the first and second reading, and pass an ordinance amending the Village of Frankfort Code of Ordinance, Title 7, Traffic Code, Chapter 71, Traffic Control Schedules to reflect the posting of no parking signage on the north side of Sauk Trail between Ash Street and Center Road.
Thank you, Trustee Savaria. The next item on here is also from Committee of the Whole, and we'll go to Trustee Farina.
Thank you, Mayor Ogle. The next item is Vehicle Replacement Purchase Approval. The Committee of the Whole also considered a request for the purchase of a new 2022 Ford Explorer for the administrative fleet through the Suburban Purchasing Cooperative Program. The cost of the vehicle would not exceed $42,000. It was the consensus of the committee to forward a recommendation to the village board to approve the vehicle purchased as presented. The motion before us this evening is to accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole and adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of a contract with Curry Motors of Frankfort for the purchase of a 2022 Ford Explorer in the amount not to exceed $42,000. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Farina. Trustee Petro, next.
Disposal of surplus vehicles. At its November 10th, 2020 meeting, the Operations Committee reviewed a request from the Utilities Department to dispose of a 2005 and a 2007 Ford F-350 upon receipt and commissioning of replacement vehicles. The replacement vehicles have been received, and the 2005 Ford F-350 is no longer useful in the daily operations of the village. Staff requests the vehicle be sent to auction. The 2007 Ford F-350 is currently being repurposed at the Police Department for snow removal. It was the consensus of the committee to forward a recommendation to the village board approving the disposal of the surplus vehicle at public auction. At its November 1st, 2021 meeting, the Committee of the Whole reviewed a request to dispose of a 2002 International 4900 dump truck assigned to the Public Works fleet. This vehicle is no longer useful in the daily operations of the village, and staff requests the vehicle to be sent to auction. It was the consensus of the committee to forward a recommendation to the village approving the disposal of the surplus vehicle at public auction. The motion before us is to accept the recommendations of the Operations Committee and the Committee of the Whole, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance authorizing the sale of certain surplus property owned by the Village of Frankfort, Will and Cook Counties, Illinois.
Thank you. And now we go to Trustee Ledden with a Plan Commission item.
Okay, the one before us this evening is for Orthopedic Bodywork Special Use for Massage Establishment at 20550 South LaGrange Road, Suite 230. Applicant Ann Janners proposes to operate Orthopedic Bodyworks at 20550 South LaGrange Road in Suite 230 within the Frankfort Business Park. The applicant requests the granting of a special use permit to offer massage services to accommodate the business operation. At the November 9th, 2021 public hearing on the project, the Plan Commission reviewed the special use request and forwarded a unanimous recommendation to the Village Board to approve the special use request. The motion before us this evening is to accept the Plan Commission recommendation, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance approving a special use permit for a massage establishment to the property located at 20550 South LaGrange Road, Suite 230, in accordance with the reviewed plans, public testimony, and findings of fact.
Thank you, Trustee Ledden. And now we'll go to Trustee Rossi for another Plan Commission item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Village of Frankfort Zoning Ordinance Amendment, Articles 7 and 12, Truck Terminal. The Plan Commission considered text amendments to the Village of Frankfort zoning ordinance relating to truck terminals. The proposed text amendments would replace the term motor freight terminal with truck terminal to provide consistency and clarification in the zoning ordinance. The proposed revisions require a text amendment to Article 7, Section B, off-street parking and loading, and Article 12, Section A, Part 2, definitions. At the November 12, 2021 public hearing, the Plan Commission forwarded a unanimous 4-0 recommendation to the Village Board to approve text amendment as presented. The motion before us is to accept the Plan Commission recommendation, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance amending the Village of Frankfort zoning ordinance, Article 7, Site Development Regulations, and Article 12, Rules and Definitions, to add a new definition for the term truck terminal and replace the term motor freight with truck in accordance with public testimony and the finding of fact.
Thank you, Trustee Rossi. Those were the items that were on the consent agenda. One item had been pulled off, which we'll discuss separately in a moment. Is there any discussion on any of these items on the consent agenda? If not, we'll go to our clerk, Katie Schubert, for the vote. I'm sorry.
The personal service, we've been using that calculation for parking, and it's just one that I think we should have our staff review, because we've noted several times that we don't have necessarily one for spa, salon, massage, and these, I think, more than just your traditional like Jeffrey Lamort salon where there's a given number of employees, we've started to see a trend. I think there's been at least 3 or 4, even in the last 3 months, of more of a like a suite salon, of like a shared space. And I think that we might need to look at our parking requirements around this kind of newer trend of shared space so that we're not disenfranchising different locations within Frankfort and making sure that we're able to keep those businesses in town.
Thank you for your comments. Is there any other discussion? All right, we'll go to our clerk, Katie Schubert, for the vote.
Trustee Farina? Yes. Trustee Lennon?
Yes.
Trustee Petro?
Yes.
Trustee Rossi? Yes. Trustee Severia?
Yes.
And Trustee Borelli?
Thank you. The motion carries. Our consent agenda. So now we will go back to the item that Trustee Severia had asked to remove from here, and that is a Plan Commission report item on the Mays residence, and that was going to be read by Trustee Borelli.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the Mays Residence Accessory Structure Variance 7403 Mayfield Drive. Homeowner Garland Mays proposes to construct an outdoor recreation area in the rear yard of his residential property located at 7403 Mayfield Drive in the Crystal Brook subdivision. The applicant seeks the granting of an accessory structure area variance from 144 square feet to 1,363 square feet to permit the construction of a sports court. At the October 28th, 2021 public hearing on the project, the Plan Commission forwarded a unanimous recommendation to the Village Board to approve the variance request. I'll go ahead and make the motion to accept the Plan Commission recommendation, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance approving a variation from Article 5, Section D, Part 3, K2 for maximum size of an accessory structure for an outdoor recreation area to allow 1,363 square feet, whereas 144 square feet is permitted for the property located at 7403 Mayfield Drive in accordance with the reviewed plans, public testimony, standards of variation, and the following two conditions. 1, the sports court shall be screened from view along the east property line as proposed on the property survey with landscape materials as listed on the landscape proposal, and along the west property line as approved by staff. And 2, no outdoor illumination of the court shall be installed. So we have the motion by Trustee Borelli, second by Trustee Petro. At this point, is there any discussion on this?
I have discussion on it.
Yes.
So historically, we haven't allowed sports courts. The current ordinance is 144 square feet for these structures. This is 10 times that amount. From my time on the Plan Commission, we really shouldn't be passing variances unless there's a land hardship. There's no land hardship here. These sports courts are loud. They're unsightly. At some point when they're not used, what happens to them? I'm not really sure how this got passed unanimously by the Plan Commission, but I, for one, am not for this. I think we need to address this by staff, going forward. I think we've discussed it before, but those are my comments.
Thank you, Trustee Severia.
I have one thing also, if we could.
Trustee Rossi.
Saying that you cannot illuminate the court with installed lights, that would really not prevent them from putting big lights up there in the evening and still interrupting with parents and still interrupting with neighbors by having big lights just out there and then taking them in at the end of the evening. By saying only can't use them installed, that kind of leaves it pretty broad, I think.
Okay. Trustee Borelli.
Mayor Ogle, I tend to agree with Trustee Severia. I do have concerns with the precedents this sets. We started down the discussion of how to address this 144 square foot accessory structure ordinance has been in place for a long time, and this I empathize with the Plan Commission because I think it's very hard to figure out what's acceptable and what's not, and I really think it's on the board to again meet and sort of start to figure this out. We did go down this path, and I just don't think we've ever finished that discussion, and I would be open to tabling this until we have that discussion, because I'm not comfortable supporting this and the precedent it would set by voting for it. But at the same time, I don't want to vote no on it, where then they wouldn't be able to do it for a full year. I feel like we should have a discussion on these and then maybe go forward with this. So that's my thoughts on it.
All right, Trustee Borelli, are you intending to make a motion to table this or postpone the vote?
I'll listen to other
Not at this time.
Discussion.
Okay. Trustee Petro.
So, I tend to agree with a lot of the comments that have been made, and actually, being on the Plan Commission, there was a request at that time to review the sports courts, because again, there was a recent trend for many of those sports courts to come in, and what I saw on the Plan Commission at that time was variety. Variety in materials, variety in screening, variety in lot sizes, positioning, and I definitely would, I've been in those shoes and definitely feel for the Plan Commission and trying to understand, what is the right size and structure for something outside of our accessory structure of 144. I believe that at this time we had instructed staff to sort of develop like a table of, what is a pergola, what is a patio, what is a sports court, and what would be reasonable. There are certainly precedences for, old school tennis courts that probably still exist in Frankfort that I can see from a couple of roads. I know that there are sports courts that have been approved in the last 5 years. So I think what we need to do at this time is really set up the same standards that we would want to see so that we could apply them consistently and fairly. And so I would also be in favor of tabling it until we have that discussion with staff. I think they started down that road around really uncovering what is an accessory structure, what falls under this, to give us a little bit more guidance and help staff give our residents more guidance on what would be appropriate.
Okay. Trustee Ledden.
I guess part of the challenge with this one, maybe the Plan Commission wrestled with, was that it's already existing, right?
No.
I thought I saw in the Plan Commission thing that they already poured it.
I can make a comment on that. We've had several training that came in, and one of them was a lawyer, and what they've stated is that what's been approved in the past should not be precedents for what goes on in the future. So it should be based on land hardship, or you should be changing your ordinance.
Trustee Ledden, were you asking if it was existing? Or this particular one is not existing?
Oh, I thought I saw it in the Plan Commission, it was.
Oh.
What was the comment?
Pardon?
What was that?
I thought I saw in the Plan Commission packet that this court had been poured when they built the house.
Oh,
No, it's not.
It's a
Okay.
different one? Oh, got it. Different one, sorry.
All right. All of the trustees have weighed in on this. Do you wish to go to a vote, or is there another motion that you'd like to make to table this?
I would motion the table to, let's say December 20th meeting, to give staff time to look into this. I don't know if that's how my colleagues feel about that, or staff.
Well,
I don't know if that's, December 20th is enough time, and, we have the holiday next week.
Yeah.
I appreciate what Trustee Burley is saying, so the audience understands. If we were to vote no on this, then the gentleman could not come back for another year, but say within 6 months we change the accessory structure ordinance that would approve another type of structure for his backyard, then
Right.
we'd allow him within that year. So perhaps we can do
We could probably do January. I mean, they're not going to build it now anyway, right?
Yeah.
So I suppose
Right, they're not gonna build
we
it
could
So
look
at
at
least
January.
past the time when we can do a committee meeting first to discuss this.
So how about,
January 17th.
that sounds good. So I'll make a motion to table to January 17th, 2022.
All right?
Second.
I'm sorry, George, please.
Mayor, I think with the way the motion is framed, it's really a motion to postpone
Okay.
consideration and action on this until the January date is suggested. And so it would really be a motion to postpone. It's debatable, and it requires 4 votes to pass.
For this particular motion. Okay, so would you like to amend that to be the motion to postpone?
The motion I would be making then is to postpone the vote to the January 17th, 2022 meeting.
Ask a question. So what would be the goal between now and then?
I believe to allow staff to, and the board to discuss and review whether that's, the ordinance is appropriate, like you'd mentioned. Either we change the ordinance or we.
But if we, unless we're changing the ordinance within that time, right? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, I'm fine with postponing. I just want to make sure that there's an end goal that we can really act on.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. 'Cause what I think I heard the mayor say is, well, we could at least discuss it at the January 12th committee of the whole meeting, right?
Yes.
I don't know if we would have enough information then to amend the ordinance. I don't know. I see where you're going with this.
So here's my point. Sure. We're at almost 1,400 square foot.
Right.
We would have to give the applicants time or the ability to resubmit, because, you know, or we could just vote on it at 1,400 square foot. But if we're saying we're looking to amend the ordinance, then we would have to then, you know, and I don't know how that would work, but if we decide to amend the ordinance, then would we go back to them and say, look, here's a more reasonable, you know, square footage, or this is what we're looking for? I just want to make sure that we're fair to the residents.
That's what I was anticipating with that update. It seemed like accessory structures, not just sports courts, but whatever was out there, a putting green or a pergola or outdoor kitchen, like it just seemed that all of them were coming forward. I think with more people investing in their outdoor space. So they were going to look at a table and possibly some solutions around appropriate sizes or structures, or look at, you know, an open air pergola might look different than like we've seen some of the, you know, fully stone. So maybe there is something to discuss in there versus maybe just saying no was my thought around it. Like, let's hear what staff does come back with before making a complete decision.
I believe we have a motion to postpone to a specific date by trustee Borelli. Does trustee Petro, did you make a second?
Yes.
All right, and this is debatable, but also we need 4 votes in order to table this for that time. Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second to table, or to postpone. All right, then can we go to our clerk, Katie Schubert, for the vote?
Trustee Ledden?
Yes.
Trustee Petro?
Yes.
Trustee Rossi?
Yes.
Trustee Severia?
Yes.
Trustee Borelli?
Yes.
Trustee Farina?
Yes.
Okay,
Motion carries.
so that motion carries. That's to postpone until the January 17th meeting, I believe. All right. So the next item on here, it's a little more complicated. We voted. All right, so a little preface on this one. At our last meeting, we laid the Borg-Warner matter on the table and directed our staff to explore if there was any common ground to resolve issues. I know the village staff has initiated the process, and we know this process will take some time. Borg-Warner filed a written protest to rezone the property, which by statute requires the affirmative vote of 4 trustees to approve and pass the Borg-Warner rezoning to R4. The mayor does not vote in this instance. I want to make sure each of us has a voice and each trustee has a vote on this issue. What I am asking for is for you to, our board, to remove this from the table and then move to postpone the Borg-Warner matter to our December 6th, 2021 meeting, where it will be placed on that meeting's board agenda for discussion and a vote.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by trustee Farina.
I'll second.
Is that trustee Borelli?
Yep.
Second by trustee Borelli. George, I don't know, in this particular one, is there a discussion on a postpone? Yes.
There is discussion on the motion to postpone.
Okay. Is there any discussion from the board?
I had a question. I was told that their lawyer won't be available till the 20th. Is that true? So I'm a little kind of concerned on that, because I was told that they want to sit down and negotiate. That was 2 weeks ago, and now they're not going to be available for over a month?
No, they're available for basically giving proposals and going back and forth, but personally being here, he's not available on the 6th.
So they will be able to meet with us.
Would be able to meet with you or certainly discuss, but yes, that can be arranged. But it's
Okay.
just that he cannot be here on the 6th.
That's fine, as long as we're not waiting a whole month to sit down and negotiate with them.
I don't envision waiting a whole month.
Right, because we need time to, absorb what they're coming back in prior to the 20th.
Yes.
So if they're not gonna be ready for the 20th, then it doesn't do us any good.
During my telephone discussion with him, we envisioned that the board was going to probably have some direction. They would then respond to it, and that would be well before, probably even
Right.
by the 6th.
And personally, I don't want to see back and forth. I'd like to see us sit down with them, and, because the back and forth is non-productive, right? If they want to negotiate, I think we should sit down, discuss what their concerns are, go back and forth. We'll give them our proposal, right? Listen to what they have to say, similar to, what, we do as a board, right? But, the back and forth is just not productive,
Certainly.
in my opinion.
And I think there are probably different ways of going about it exactly. The question, when you talk about negotiating, one of the issues is open meetings, whether you're doing it in public, whether you're doing things, one-on-one, and then it coming back to the board. That's one of the issues with dealing with it. So, I don't know to what extent, we want to talk about this in executive session versus talking about it now.
Right. And we can go into executive session after this meeting. I'm fine with that.
That's fine.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to table this to December 6th. Yeah, Rob, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yep, the first one, yes. The first motion is to remove from the table. I'm sorry. So we should probably go back over these other motions. So, Trustee Farina, would you make that one again?
Sure, you'd like me to, just to be clear, to motion to postpone the vote till December 6th?
I'm sorry, actually, the first one was to remove it from the table.
Okay,
Unless that was your motion.
I motion to remove it from the table.
Second.
Okay. All right, any discussion on that one? Okay. Clerk, can we have the vote?
Trustee Petro? Yes. Trustee Rossi?
Yes.
Trustee Severia?
Yes.
Trustee Borelli?
Yes.
Trustee Farina?
Yes.
Trustee Ledden?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we've removed it from the table now, and now we'd be requesting that we move to postpone, that one of the board members makes a move to postpone the Borg-Warner matter until our December 6, 2021 meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. All right, so Trustee Farina with the motion, Trustee Borelli with the second. Any discussion on this postponement further? Okay, and then we can go to our clerk, Katie Schubert, for that vote.
Trustee Rossi?
Yes.
Trustee Severia?
Yes.
Trustee Borelli?
Yes.
Trustee Farina?
Yes.
Trustee Ledden?
Yes.
And Trustee Petro?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the Borg-Warner matter will be postponed until December 6th. At our last village board meeting on November 1st, the majority of the board did vote to table the rezoning and begin negotiations with Borg-Warner. Staff did compile a list of potential restrictions that could be enacted under the PUD within the existing zoning. Village administrator sent a memo to all the trustees on November 5th with that list and a spreadsheet, and I did follow up with a memo on November 9th asking the trustees to email their comments back to get them back by November 10th. And so we do need all the trustees to weigh in so that we can really make these negotiations in earnest and make them productive, like Trustee Savaria said. And instead of back and forth, let's try to make this happen properly. So our next item on here in the board meeting is we get to what's called the mayor's report. First item on here is the Shop Small Saturday proclamation. The Village of Frankfort celebrates our local small businesses and their contributions to our local economy and community. Residents are encouraged to shop the Saturday after Thanksgiving as a day to shop small and shop local in Frankfort. And there's quite a bit of Frankfort, actually. I think we've got about 15 some miles of stores and other things. The trustees and I support Small Business Saturday, and I encourage our residents to do the same with their holiday gift buying in Frankfort. At this time, I entertain a motion from the floor to proclaim Saturday, November 27th as Small Business Saturday in the Village of Frankfort.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Savaria with the motion and Trustee Farina with the second. And all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Get out there and shop, and certainly one of the best things for us here is go out and buy a car from one of our major car dealers here. I've got my Ford Explorer, and hopefully looking to replace that soon, and I'll be shopping at our local car dealers as well. The lighting of the green is coming up, and it's scheduled for Thursday, December 2nd at 6:30 at our Brighter Green. The event will feature a countdown to the tree lighting, musical performances by the Black Widow Brass Quintet and the Hickory Creek Middle School Choir, and also a visit from Santa and Mrs. Claus. There will be complimentary cookies, and hot chocolate will be served by the Lincoln Way East Interact Club. For more information, go to our website, frankfortil.org. The Chamber of Commerce will host its annual Midnight Madness event in downtown Frankfort on Friday, December 10th from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. Participating businesses will remain open to shoppers to take advantage of their hospitality and holiday gift-giving specials. And as I recall, the later in the evening, the bigger the discounts get. So if you manage to do that. We have Reindeer on the Green coming up also, and you certainly want to save that date. It's Saturday, December 11th. The Village of Frankfort will host its annual Reindeer on the Green event in downtown Frankfort from noon to 2 p.m. You can experience an up-close encounter with 2 Alaskan reindeer while listening to holiday music performances by Frankfort Girl Scout Service Union 718 and again the Black Willow Brass Quintet. Included in this year's event are a trackless train, which is really pretty cool. Be going around the town, arts and crafts tables, and complimentary hot cocoa and cookies. And again, more details are available at the village website. Couple other fun things here too. We were awarded part of the best of the best competitions that were here. There were actually quite a few restaurants, Enrico's and other ones, but the Village of Frankfort won the award for best downtown and also as one of the best places to live. Of course, we all knew that anyway. Our Lincoln Way East Griffins, we want to thank you for a great season, and you did a tremendous job. And made us very proud. Speaking of being very proud, at the November 1st meeting, right after Halloween, I made a comment for residents. If you had leftover candy, that you could drop it off here, and we'd compile it. And as it turned out, we had 2 different deliveries. One was 40 pounds of candy that we delivered out to the Will County Children's Advocacy Center. And their mission and the children and the families that they take care of, it's pretty amazing, and some of the trauma that they go through. And then also today I took about 20 pounds of candy that was part of the Frankfort Car Club, as well as our Frankfort residents, to the Mantino Veterans Home on behalf. Again, I want to thank all of you for your big hearts, your generous spirits, and bringing some joy to some people's lives with the candy, and also we don't need to eat all that candy ourselves anyway. So that concludes the mayor's report for tonight, and I will go to board comments, and we will start with our clerk, Katie Schubert.
Thank you, Mayor Ogle. I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving coming up, and thank you to those who work during the holiday to keep us safe here, and whenever it is that you celebrate. If you don't cook, I saw lots of local businesses offering pies and other delicious things you can order ahead of time. So happy Thanksgiving, and I hope everyone has safe travels if you're not staying here. That's all.
Thank you, Clerk. Trustee Ledden.
Okay, I'll be quick. First of all, happy belated Veterans Day to Trustee Savaria. Sorry I didn't wish that to you at the last meeting. I'm glad to see you survived your annual Veterans trip. That's a good thing. Happy birthday to Trustee Petro. I'm glad you're able to spend your birthday with us. I'm sure that makes it even more special. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone. You know, I hope you enjoy the time with your families and your friends, and you know, get ready for an always exciting holiday season ahead of us.
Thank you, Trustee Ledden. Trustee Savaria.
Well, Trustee Ledden stole my thunder. Happy birthday, Trustee Petro. 28?
Yes.
Yeah.
29 again.
And everybody have a great Thanksgiving. Be safe out there.
Thank you. Trustee Farina.
Thank you, Mayor Ogle. Happy birthday, Jessica. I just want to thank our staff and wish them a very happy Thanksgiving. I'm so grateful for the men and women we work with here in the village of Frankfort. This last year we went through a pandemic. As everyone knows, we're still going through that. Our police are out 24/7. Our guys in public works and utilities are out there when it's freezing cold, rainy, sleeting, taking care of our town. Our staff here at the Village Hall, they work regularly with our public and take many calls from our residents to help them. It's been quite a year, and we have made our goals. We are under budget, and we have continued to deliver services despite the challenges. So, Rob Pisha, I want to thank you for your leadership and your staff for a great job, and I'm very, again, grateful for them, and I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Farina. Trustee Petro.
Thank you. Wanted to shout out the Frankfort Girl Scouts. If anybody saw all those little girls walking around Prairie Park, they did a huge food donation and participated in a turkey trot mile run around Prairie Park and down to Pfeiffer. So I think it was a very successful event, and I'll be excited to see them caroling here. Holiday season is honestly just magical all the time, but here in Frankfort it's extra special, so I look forward to all the upcoming events and hope that many of our residents get to participate in them, and wishing everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. And thanks for the birthday shout outs, everyone.
Trustee Burley.
Thank you, Mayor, and happy birthday, Trustee Petro. I know you mean that when there wouldn't be a place you'd rather be. I wanted to extend my congratulations to the East football team. I downloaded the app so I could watch some of the game. They really fought really hard. What a great season. Congratulations. The seniors, from what I read, I think only 6 starting seniors, so future looks bright for 2022, so keep it up. And a happy Thanksgiving to all our residents, and of course looking forward to all the Christmas events, our holiday events here in Frankfort. It's a great time to be here. It's one of the many reasons we all live here, and so looking forward to taking advantage of it and seeing you all out and about during the busy holiday season. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Burley. Trustee Rossi.
Last but not least, happy birthday, Trustee Petro. I appreciate your spending it with us tonight. Second thing is, I understand there was a problem with one of the water plants during the week, and again, staff was able to take care of it. No interruption to service to the residents. It was another good job. Last thing, a little personal thing, my granddaughter Kylie was in the play at East last week, Freaky Friday. She had one of the leads, and the staff and the cast was incredible. They did a super job. I wanted to give a shout out to the teachers that run the theatrical program. They are incredible. And if you ever get a chance to go to one of the plays at East, I think you'll really enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Rossi. Now we go to our village administrator, Rob Pisha.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to, again, kind of a broken record, want to remind residents we are now actually in leaf season. The leaves have fallen off the trees quite a bit. We've got a lot at the curbs. I would ask, again, when you're raking them to the curb, you do not have to put them in the street. Kind of keep them on the parkway, because if they end up in the curb, it does create an issue potentially if we get a heavy rainstorm where it can flood the street. So I ask that you not do that and keep them on your parkway. The vacuum will actually reach that far for that. Also, we will have one more branch pickup after Thanksgiving, the week after Thanksgiving, so just want to remind people that they can cut off some more branches if they have to, do some maintenance, and we will do one more branch pickup. Wanted to wish Trustee Petro a happy birthday. Also give a shout out to my parents. My mom's birthday was yesterday, my dad's is today, and they're both 80 years old today, so kind of a shout out to them, and of course, happy birthday to everyone. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Rob. Congratulations to your parents as well. Now we go to our police chief.
Thank you, Mayor. With the upcoming holidays, we would just like to remind any residents that are going to be out of town for an extended stay to consider some safety measures. Some suggestions would be to ask a neighbor to get your mail or to put your mail on a hold through the post office. You can sign up for Vacation Watch, which we offer. You can access Vacation Watch by going to the village website and going under police and filling out the form online, setting timers on interior lights, making sure not to share your travel plans on social media, and as always, secure valuables and make sure your windows, doors, and vehicles are locked. The Frankfort Police Department would like to wish everyone a safe and happy Thanksgiving, and Trustee Petro a happy birthday.
Thank you, Chief. Now we go to our attorneys for the attorney's report.
No report tonight. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. All right, do we have any other business to come before the board tonight?
Mayor, I'd like to adjourn the executive session to discuss litigation with respect to Borg Warner. And I can't cite the.
Okay.
So we'll be going into executive session under section C 11 of the exemptions under the Open Meeting Act, where first the board finds there is a probable or imminent threat of litigation, and then we would go into executive session under that category if that's what you find.
Mr. Mayor, before we adjourn, we want to just take public comments first.
We probably should, if that's okay. Is there anyone here that's wants to make public comment before we go into executive session? We'll come out. There will be no business that we'll transact afterwards, but it may be a while. So, would anyone like to make public comment at this point? Okay. Hearing none, we'll go past the public comment, and we have a motion by Trustee Borelli to use one of the exemptions for litigation to go into executive session. We need a second. Second by Trustee Savaria. Is there any discussion about this?
I'm just curious what we plan to discuss. I thought with the motion, we were going to go into negotiations with Borg Warner.
I don't know if it's.
But the motion was to postpone it to.
Right, for negotiations.
But to go into
Right.
executive session, you're asking that.
Yeah, why are we going to executive session? That's my question, because it wasn't on our agenda tonight.
I think anybody has the opportunity to go, to make the request to go into executive session. So do we have to state why we're going into?
We have to state the reason why we're doing it and what section under the Open Meeting Act that we are seeking to go into executive session.
And I think that's what you,
Exactly.
right.
And to do that, the board has to find there is probable or imminent likelihood of suit. And I would suggest one of the things this board could consider is statements made by the attorney for Borg Warner during various hearings before this board and the Planning Commission, where at least when I heard it, I took it as a threat of probable or imminent litigation.
Okay. So we'll be in executive session. We'll be discussing the Borg Warner potential litigation. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Clerk, the vote, please.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Yes.
Trustee Borelli?
Yes.
Trustee Farina?
Yes.
Trustee Ledden?
Yes.
Trustee Petro?
Yes.
And trustee Rossi.
Yes.
Okay. We are now going into executive session. When we come out, we will be adjourning the meeting, and there will be no action that will be taken by the board after this point. Thank you.